button, the second icon, and then you'll just select the window that has your photos.
Okay. Jump to that now.
Yep.
Okay. Let's have a look. Okay.
Perfect. Yep. So you can just minimize the chat window. But like Bruce says, saying such nice things about you.
That's a good cohort. We love it. It's great.
Awesome. And then you can just select on the first image, bring that up larger.
Okay.
Now you guys are getting off a little bit easier than my first cohort because I made them actually put a failed photo in just so I could beat them up about it.
Oh,
So, which I'm inclined to do with you because your work is just stellar.
no, thank
So,
you.
okay, so we're gonna start with you, and I'd actually like you to tell me a little bit about the photo and what you love about it, and if there's anything you don't love, and then I'm gonna grade it.
Okay. So this was done with one of my favourite makeup artists that lives reasonably local to me. She's really creative, although most of the time she's doing wedding makeup. So because of that, it doesn't give her much opportunity to do this kind of work, and which is why when she gets the chance and we get together and see what we can put together. I've got quite a lot of models now that want to work with me, so I'm quite lucky from that point of view. And this is one of them. So we just got a team together, and styling was pretty much down to the makeup artist. She had some good ideas, and this is the result, really.
And love it. So
Um, yeah,
if
when I was
you
doing this, I
go
wanted it to be a little bit surreal.
okay, I'm gonna pause you for just a second. If you go over to the chat in the Google window and just hit the little bell up at the top, it will stop hearing the notifications from the chat that they're all throwing you love it.
Okay, let's have a look. Okay, I think that's got it. Better?
Should be. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, so the only thing I had a little bit of concern here was the eyes. I've tried to put a little bit of reflection in the eyes just to make them not look dead. But I kind of wanted a little bit more deadness, if you like, than usual because of the kind of look that it is. Obviously, her skin looks really pale, and that's been done on purpose. Um, I've been looking at this a few times. I think because it's a small image, it looks a bit like the headdress bit, the feathers, is slightly blown out, but it's not really on the actual image. So I think that's just okay for Google, just making that a bit more compressed and looking brighter than it actually is. I love the hair in this image and the makeup and the sharpness of it all. I'm quite tough on myself, trying to get things sharp as much as I can. Um, I use a D800, so I want to get as sharp as possible most of the time, and it's probably all I can afford before medium format and going in that kind of direction.
Mm. So I love this image, and I'm supposed to judge you guys harshly, and um, and I'm still gonna give it. Actually, I'm gonna give it a commendable because I've seen the quality of your work. Um, but if it was anybody else, I think they would get an exceptional. The only real critique that I do have is the lack of catch lights in the eyes, and I think that if you had that and had a little bit more of the color in the irises just to separate the iris from the pupils, I don't think that you would lose the deadness because the sort of blank mannequin look that I think you were going for is very evident on her face and the energy she's giving.
Yeah,
But there should always be life in the eyes even with that. Otherwise, it starts to look corpse-like, and that feeling can overwhelm the viewers. So it loses a little bit of the potency. And it's a really, really fine art to be able to keep that vibrancy with a lack of expression. But I think with this model, you could have totally pulled it off.
okay.
Um, I love the hair, and I love the color coordination and the fact that it gives it an almost monochromatic kind of feel between the tonality of the hair and the gold beads. And then it picks up a little more of that golden copper in the makeup, which is flawless. It's absolutely beautiful. The retouching is superb. Do you do all your own retouching?
Not at all, no. Well, I say not at all. I do some, but on the ones that are in here, most of them are being retouched by my retoucher.
Okay. Then for your level 9 critique, one of your things is going to be to put self-retouched photos or unretouched photos in, just to get a feel for raw talent. Because when it's a collaborative effort, it's awesome and I love it. But I always like to see where people actually are of their own merit without the help of any others. Because God forbid you not have a retoucher available for anything that you're working on for whatever reason, you should definitely be able to kill it on your own. And I have the feeling that you're better than you think you are anyway. So yeah, I love all of that. I love the idea of the headdress, but it's so bright and white and stark in comparison to the rest of the photo that I actually think that it takes away a little bit from her and just kind of overwhelms her a little bit. And that may have been something that could be toned down a little bit in post, or maybe if they had given it just a little bit of a color cast to take like the white starkness away and made it more of kind of like the white champagne color of like the white beads around her neck, I think that would have anchored it a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it's kind of floating off her head for me.
Yeah, the full-size TIFF's got a lot more detail on it, and it is not quite so bright either. So, yeah, I know what you mean there.
So, but overall, it is a really fabulous photograph. I'm going to give you commendable just because I'm afraid I won't be able to do anything but expert on the rest of them. Go ahead, move on to the next one.
Okay, so this one was for a submission for the British Hairdressing Awards. I've been lucky enough to work with the same hairdresser 4 years in a row. We've managed to get through to the finals 4 years in a row. This one's currently going through the process. We've reached the final, and there's 8 images altogether that go into the final to be judged. There's lots of salons that go through to this, but in our area, which is the eastern area, there's about another 8 salons we're competing against. And this is all a concept that we talked about beforehand. So things like the shadow on the background are actually on purpose. That's not there. I mean, normally I wouldn't have that kind of shadow in my images, but they really wanted that, and it kind of does take away from the background and give you some separation, which is nice. There isn't although this is being retouched, there's not really a great deal of editing has gone into that. There's some dodging and burning, and obviously the skin's been retouched, but the hair really hasn't had much done to it at all. And we wanted to keep those flyaways and the sides and stuff just to purely show that, you know, we've got the hairdresser's got the technique to do what he's done, but wants to show that it's a kind of a natural thing, and we haven't made it absolutely perfect for that reason, really.
I actually agree with you. I like that there's a couple of the flyaways that make it perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
And because the rest of it is so sculpted and pristine, you can tell that it was done on purpose. And I think that's probably a personal preference thing, and you'll probably find 20 other people that are like, you should have fixed those flyaways. But I love it. Her skin is flawless. I love the light. You are just exuding butterfly lighting exactly as it should be exemplified. I think it's gorgeous. I love the light in her face. She still has that kind of model mannequin kind of expression, but with the white liner on the bottom, it just really makes her eyes pop and really just makes her like visually ferocious.
And I point out, I only always use one light and a reflector. That's kind of my style. So this is always just one light, generally speaking, and you can tell from the shadow.
That's how you tell a master. Like all the people that are like, oh, you need 3 lights to be able to shoot portraits and blah blah blah. Like when you can get these kind of results with minimal equipment, then you know that you are excelling beyond the masses, and you definitely are here. I don't have a lot of critique. I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit of dodge and burn on her left-hand side just to separate her body from her arm, because there's that really flat line down and you lose the line of her body a little bit. So I would like to see just a little bit more severing that separates that and shows where her body and the line of her décolletage and her chest is, as opposed to the line of her arm, because it just kind of flattens out on that side. But that's really my only critique. It's very well done, exceptional.
Okay, thank you. Okay, again, so this is the same hairdresser. This is a different year's shoot, different concept altogether, more of a kind of modern or futuristic kind of look. We purposely made the skin that tone. The hair, again, has had very little retouching. It really was that good. He does such a good job. And this was shot on a grey background, and I've actually added the triangles afterwards in another piece of software, just to kind of emulate the angle she's got in the dress.
Okay. This is another beautiful photograph. I'm going to disagree with you, though. I think the triangles are distracting. And I don't know, it may have been that if you had continued them so that they took up the entire background instead of just being kind of spotlighted behind her, that it may have worked, but I'd be very interested to see this shot without them. I think it'll be stronger. I love the lighting again. And the definition on her cheekbones and the jawline is really strong. You're very good at this specific style with that very high-end couture model kind of expression where they're so perfect that they almost don't look human, and you accentuate that with the skin toning too. So she almost has this extraterrestrial thing going on that I find really appealing.
I must admit, for this image, I did actually add the triangles afterwards. I think for the competition, it was just in a grey background. I just thought it gave it a little bit more separation, but I'll take your point.
Yeah, well, and you know, I might change my mind seeing the other one, but for me right now, it's distracting. Maybe when we're done this, if you want to post the original in the group, I'd be interested to hear what some of your fellow apprentices think too.
Okay.
But I'm sure, like everything else, it's personal preference, and I'm just looking for things to pick you apart about because your work is really, really good. So, so triangles, no. But I love the lighting on it and the way that it catches in the hair. Like, I would be very, very happy if I was a hairstylist working with you because you do just make it look just stunning. So, I'm going to give you a commendable just because I do think that the triangles are kind of like a distracting, like cheesy add-on. And for me, when people start adding those things, it's usually because they're trying to distract attention from the fact that the work is mediocre, which makes me furious at you because your work is so good that you definitely don't need to do anything to add to it. It stands for itself. So, well done.
Thank you. Okay, so again, this is another collaboration with one of my favourite makeup artists. We came up with an idea. She wanted to do a mask that she airbrushes makeup.
Okay.
She does a really good job at it. There's actually a video that goes with this that you can see it from the start. I had a comment from I think it was Bruce on the cohort that wondered if we'd actually changed the image or the look of the model in any way. And you know, you can see that we didn't. All the eyes and stuff were exactly as they were. Yeah, we just wanted some separation in the backdrop. So this is a bit of a composite again because I think it was just shot against grey. I've added the lens flare there, which sometimes I like, sometimes I don't. But I think in this case it just gives you that kind of spacey effect again, which is kind of what we're after. Again, looking at this, if I'd shot it again, I may have just moved her hand along a bit more so there wasn't a crop of her thumb in there. But other than that, it's one of my favourite images.
I can definitely see why. I don't mind the composited background. I think it does add to that kind of spacey feel. The lens flare, I don't know that it necessarily bothers me on her arm, but I think that it detracts from her along the side of her ear where it's at the bottom of her jaw. And I think the eyes are so important, and with the makeup being the focus, and it's such cool makeup, that having that green flare right over her eye is really distracting. So I might have gone in and just taken that part out, and left the rest. She's got this fierce expression in her eyes, but she lost it just a little bit in her lips. Her lips look a little bit pursed, which is usually a sign of tension.
Yeah, she's probably gritting her teeth or something to give her cheekbones.
Yeah, and so it looks just a little tight there for me. I would have liked to have seen her lips a little bit more relaxed. And the angle of her shoulder, I love the asymmetry of it, but it's making her shoulder look really bulky in comparison against her face. So I think maybe having her still have the lift, but pull it back and away from her ear a little bit would have helped, because it just looks a little disproportionate. And I totally agree with you about the thumb thing. I either would have cropped it higher or cloned the arm down a little bit to take that out,
Yeah,
or cropped it wider so that her hand was actually in the shot.
sure.
But I really do love the idea of it. Again, it's beautifully done. Whoever is retouching for you, their skin retouching is just flawless. It's beautiful.
No,
Um,
Stefka Pavlova, and she's amazing. But it took me a long time to find a retoucher that really matched the kind of style I was after. I just got really lucky.
yeah, and it is a total dance trying to find your team, because they have to not only be good at what they do, but be good at doing it for you in a way that complements your work. And it's the same with makeup artists and hairstylists. So you have like phenomenal people that you're working with that are really just, you guys are just playing off of each other and amplifying each other's talents, which is really, really awesome. So I'm going to give this one a commendable. I think the thumb could have definitely gone. I don't like the lens flare over the eye, but it's still just a stunning, beautiful shot.
Okay. Okay, so again, another collaboration with a fantastic makeup artist called Joe Adams. Just shot in my house. Most of these things are shot in our flats or houses or whatever, not really in studios most of the time. All the salon ones are shot in the salon, so I take all my kit to the salon. Um, and this was a collaboration with a model I really like working with called Ruby, and we were lucky enough to have a florist that wanted to get involved as well, so she made the headpiece for us. And we just wanted it to be nice and simple, that really showed the makeup to its best. And again, just shot with one light and a reflector.
This is just beautiful. I love the texture of the flowers, love her hair, love the light on her body. A lot of times when people are shooting with one light, especially when they're kind of turning to that light, you'll see, either beautiful light on the face, but they'll hit the hot spot on the shoulder, or vice versa. And it's just flawless. It's just the perfect amount to accentuate everything and be dramatic without being too contrasty. Um, the only real critique, or the only thing that I can really pick apart, is there's a little bit of a shadow that falls under the pink flower and kind of follows all the way through to her jawline, and you lose a little bit of the hair into the petal and into the cheek. Like, that shadow, I think, is just a little bit too harsh. If you'd gone in and maybe just dodged and burned a little bit just to create a little bit of separation from that. And I might have lightened up ever so slightly in the bottom corner just along her other shoulder to pull it out just a little bit further from the background as far as separation. But that's really, really nitpicking. Like, the catch lights in her eyes are amazing. The light is beautiful. She's gorgeous. The styling with the headdress is beautiful. It's exemplary. Well done.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all of them.
Awesome. Okay, so you can go up to the screen share and click it off. That way you can see your handsome face.
So let me get back there again. I've lost the page.
So if you go in your in the actual Google screen where you are with me, and just go back up and click the screen share icon again, it'll just turn it off.
This is an IT professional getting lost around his screen. I'm used to having so many screens, and I've got one now, and it's becoming difficult.
Yeah, because you got to go through all the different windows. I did the same thing my first critique. I was like, I don't know where it went.
Where is it? Come on. I've got a Google screen. Oh, here we go.
There you go. Perfect. Yay.
Right.
Okay, so it's really unnerving for me to come into a cohort brand new and start right with critiques because I haven't really gotten a feel for everyone. And especially with some of the talent in here, because some of you guys are actually exceeding some of my ability too, um, just in different areas. But I'd like to talk to you a little bit about where you are and what you picked the Arcanum for and where you're looking to go, what the path to mastery is supposed to do for you.
Okay. Well, yeah, I joined the Arcanum really to try and build my confidence and hopefully find a master that would be in the same kind of area that I was looking to go towards. I think the stuff I've been doing is kind of where I want to be, but a lot further on. So I want to be doing more shoots for salons and competitions and that kind of thing. And in the UK, we've got two guys that are really running away with that market at the moment. There's Andrew O'Toole, who's one, and another one, John Rawson, and they seem to be getting 20, 30 salons a year, whereas I'm probably getting 2 or 3, maybe, something like that. So I really want to be at that level and kind of concentrate on that. And I really, yeah, just hoping that someone can help me in that direction, really.
Well, let's talk about how you got the first two.
The first two,
The first two, the salon competitions that you're working with now and the people that you're working with.
that's really progression, which we've done other work that was just for the salon, for advertising, that kind of stuff. And then it progressed to competitions, other competitions, and then to this main one, which is the biggest one in the UK, the British Hairdressing Awards. And there's other ones like the L'Oreal Colour Trophy we have over here. That's a big event as well. And then word of mouth, really. I think people have taken me on because they've had good work done, hopefully by in other salons. So most of my work has been by word of mouth.
Okay. Now, explain to me, because I don't compete in hair salons or work with that kind of thing. How does the business model for that work? Are you getting paid by the hairdressers? Are you guys winning money in the competition? Like, what does that look like?
It's all paid by the hairdressers and the salons.
Okay. So when you're working with that then and you're reaching out to them, are you happy with where your rates are now? Are they?
It's getting close. I'm on a lot lower rates than the guys I just mentioned because
Okay.
I think they offer the full package. They offer the models and the makeup artists and everything in one go, and they charge an awful lot of money for that because they're using agency models, generally speaking.
Hmm.
So I'm a lot less, but reasonably where I want to be. But obviously, there's always room for improvement.
Is that what you're looking to do, to be able to basically put like an all-star team together with the models and everything all together, so that you could just come in and build a vision?
I think that'd be nice to be able to do that, definitely. But the model side's always hard because agency models often you can't do anything with their hair. So there's only a few on the circuit that you can do stuff with.
Do you
So
feel like you would have to work with agency models?
in the level of competition we're with in the British Hairdressing Awards, probably generally speaking, yes, with a few exceptions, without a doubt. But yeah, they're
Okay.
often.
So what's next for you on your path? Are you doing this full time now?
Not at all. No, I work full time in a night shift in an IT job for an international consultancy firm in the city of London. So I drive up there every night at 10 o'clock at night and come back home at 5 in the morning. But it gives me time in the afternoons, and I can choose when I sleep to basically continue with my passion of photography, and it kind of keeps me sane.
So the concept, the idea is definitely to be able to give that up and do this full time.
I think in the long term that would be excellent. I mean, if I'm honest, I'm not sure that will happen, but I'd like to make steps towards it. I just hope by that point I'm not too old.
Now, do you feel like is it less fulfilling for you if you're not involved in competition and in that kind of circuit? Would you be happy doing this more under the portrait basis, where people where the clients would hire you to basically be the models and come in and have images like this of themselves done?
No, I'll be open to that as well. I mean, I love shooting people, and that's my passion. Not so much landscapes and that kind of stuff. I'd much rather be working with people. and if it's in this kind of look or high-end portrait, I'd love it.
Okay. So let's the goal for me, and I know, this is a transition period because I wasn't your original master, and Miss Danielle is absolutely fabulous with her artistry. But um, the reason that I signed up and the reason that I stay at the lower entry levels rather than in the specialist of the higher tiers is because what I'm looking to do is really just help you define where it is that you're going. So I don't a lot of the a lot of the masters are providing maps and they're going, here's where I am and I'm going to help you to get to here, which I think was probably along the lines of what Miss Danielle was doing because she's just fabulous and she picked up a lot of people that I see elements of her style and her path that she can go, here's where I am, there's where you are, and I can get you from here to there with directions. And I'm a little bit different in the idea that I don't want to necessarily be a map, and I don't want the cohort to be a map as much as a compass. So it's really just my job to kind of point you north, and that way you can figure out where you want to go. So that being said, you're with me for 20 levels. Where would you like to be when you cross that threshold into Sphere 2? What would be the ideal scenario?
Well, I'd love to be shooting more for salons, for competitions or whatever. Have much more clients than I've got right now. Um, and I really respect the way you run your business, and that would certainly help me to learn more about the business side of things as well as the photography side.
Oh my God, I think that if you wanted to go over into modeling along the idea of a portrait style business where your clients were actually the models, the amount of money you make would be ridiculous with the quality of the work that you make. Like, even here, like, my clients don't spend less than $2,000 on a session.
Yeah,
So
you do seem really lucky there, because I think I've been doing this for around about 8 years on and off, but obviously the quality's improved year on year, hopefully. But finding people that are willing to pay that kind of money here is really hard. I mean, I was
it's
thinking,
really hard here too. The
yeah,
average session right here for boudoir and like fashion glamour portraiture is $250 a session, and they're
yeah,
getting Indiska images.
similar rate here, but I don't even find that models that want portfolios want to pay more than £150 or whatever, and then they're asking, is that including the makeup artist? It's like,
That and part of that is that if you're working with agency models and things like that, because I actually find that too when they're agency models and they're in the industry, so to speak, they actually are less inclined to pay because, one, there's so many people fighting to have them work with them, and there's so many photographers that are willing to time for print in order to say that they're working with these models. And like in my genre, like the Playboy models are that way. Like everybody wants to shoot them just to say I shot a Playboy model. So they're much less inclined to pay anything, let alone premium rates. But most of the girls that you see in my stuff, like the images that I've been posting with you, like the one is a housewife down the street. The other one is like, 42-year-old career woman that just came in. Like they're just normal people. They're not in the industry. They have their day jobs. They have kids and families. They're not anything. But when you have the ability, the natural ability that you have, and let's be honest, I feel confident that I can be a master and a mentor with you on the idea of moving towards your path and giving some helpful feedback. But going head to head with you, your work is better than mine.
I wouldn't say that.
So, and at the very least, it's par. Like, so it's really interesting for me to come into this group where there aren't, because I picked a lot of people that were just starting out because I knew that I could take them very far in a short amount of time. Because I built my business from $75 a session and working in my bedroom to $25 to $4,000 a session in like 3.5, 4 years, which is really, really fast compared to a lot of people that are, and it makes me furious when I hear like, oh, people won't pay that for my rates because your work is stellar. I would pay for those rates to have images like that of myself. Oh my God, I would kill to get shot by you. And there's so many women that feel that way because the rest of their lives aren't in that industry and they aren't glamorous. And, you know, half the days, like, you know, my son and I had an argument because he put on like thermal pajama pants and a white button down shirt, and I had to tell him he couldn't wear that to school. And he's like, well, you wear pajamas at your critiques. I was like, that's different. They can't see my pants. And, you know, but most days, like, that's what it is. Like, these women are pulling their hair up in a ponytail, and they're trying to get the kids to school, and they're coming home, and they're trying to get dinner on the table, and they're trying to balance work and life and home and family, and find that. And, you know, I'm sure, like, you can relate to that on a lot of levels. Like, you have all this passion in something you want to do, but you're spending time at work and you're spending time at home and family and trying to find the balance. So when they get to set a day aside and come in and play dress up, which is what we've been doing since we were 2 years old, you know, in heels that were way too big for us and makeup that was all over our face. But like, you watch like a little 4-year-old girl, and Cinderella has nothing on her, you know. And so what we do is basically an adult version of that. We just teach them that it's okay to play dress up and play fairy tales. And with the quality of your work, like, them having images like that is going to be so much more priceless to them than it's going to be to a model that it's just another shot in her portfolio. So I think that's where the command comes for the premium prices.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, one thing I have found, obviously, shooting proper models, and I've used agencies like Storm in the UK, which has been amazing, is the perception is of the image, because it's a beautiful model, you think it's a beautiful image. And, you know, I'd like to take some credit for it, but I think quite often it's just purely down to who it is you're shooting.
I disagree. And I'm gonna, just between us, I'll post some photos in the cohort, like some before and afters of what they came in and what they became, you know. And part of that is the vision. Like, as photographers, we're literally light writers. What do? We look for the light, something that you are amazing at doing. And you, every single one of the images you shared had incredible, beautiful quality of light. All you have to do is be able to do what you do as a photographer and look for the light in the people. There's something enchanting and something mesmerizing about every single client that comes in. Do they all look like the girls in your photos? No. Do they all look like the girls in my photos? Yeah, but not without the professional hair and the makeup and the lighting and the posing and the confidence that you built. So that's really important, I think, in the building process, is that when you have normal people that come in, they're really shy and they're really self-conscious because they're not a model and they don't do this all the time. And a lot of time they have lost the ability to see themselves beautiful and attractive and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, even there's always the improvement. If you take a woman that has 5 kids and has childbearing hips from having those 5 kids, and, you know, isn't 22 years old anymore and isn't necessarily model material, and you take her over and you make her feel like a princess for the day, and you do her hair and you do her makeup and you do your amazing gift of lighting and posing and setting that up for her, and you show her those images, she will cry in front of you for them, because it's probably the most beautiful she's ever felt in her whole life, and you gave that to her. That's an incredible gift.
Because I think in many ways, I think women turn to women photographers in that situation maybe slightly easier because of the rapport.
Nope. Both the photographers that shot me boudoir and nude were both men.
Okay.
And you know, for some reason, I think male photographers feel like women have an advantage, and we probably do to some extent, but really it's just about making them feel comfortable, you know. And oh my God, all you'd have to do, you come work in the U.S. for a week, because with that accent, girls will just be dropping their panties anyway for you. You could just do boudoir 1 week and make like your whole year's salary. But you know, you don't have to make the argument for why they have to pick a male photographer or you. All you have to do is show the images.
Okay.
You know, and you can absolutely keep working. Like, if you love the thrill of the competition and seeing your images up there and then winning awards, because who doesn't? And that's validation on such a grand scale. That's awesome. Keep working towards that. But if your goal is to move over to being able to do photography full time and on your own, and with you as the head of your business and giving up this job so that you can make your hours, do what you're passionate about, and the rest of your time can be spent with family and other things you enjoy, then I think that maybe looking into the portrait side of things and building a business around that will help with that transition over to that.
Definitely.
And any time that you're spending on that is more time that you're spending just beating on your craft and perfecting all of, I don't know how much more perfecting you can do, but increasing the quality and the understanding of light and photography and models and stuff like that. It's building your portfolio, and you can still create these beautiful images. And just because you're shooting women that don't necessarily look like the models from the agencies doesn't mean that you have to display them in your portfolio.
Sure, yeah.
There are tons of people, like I post up photos of every client that lets me share photos, but because of the nature of my work and that my work's more intimate, not everybody wants it. I have tons of second grade teachers that come in that don't want, the mom from their second grade students class coming across nude photos of them in a G-string on Facebook. Totally changes perception. So other people that are like very involved in their church, or because they get them done for their spouse and their spouse doesn't want everybody else seeing what they get, at home every night.
Yeah.
So, oh God, I could probably post a photo every day for the rest of the year if I was suddenly allowed to show all the photos from clients that, haven't let me share the work. But at the same time, just because people outside aren't seeing me shoot them, like they're still $1,500 to $3,500 checks going into the bank every single time I shoot them. And, really depending on what you make at your IT job, like it's probably not unfathomable to think that you could shoot 2 or 3 sessions a month at that rate and be fine. And, and quit your job and do exactly what you want to do, which would give you, if you were doing, let's say, is it fair to say that if you were getting $2,000 a session, that 4 sessions a month would pretty much cover everything that you need for living expenses?
Not far off.
Okay, so that's 1 session a week, and you're in the habit of working with an incredible team too, so you're also not spending the extra hours that I spend sitting in front of a computer retouching. I don't mind doing that because I love that and that's part of it, but if you're sending that off, that's time that you don't have to spend doing that afterwards, which is time you can spend going out and finding the other clients that you want to work with as far as hair and makeup and stuff like that to compete in competitions. And if you have all that time free to be able to do that, then all of a sudden you have time to go make yourself known and compete with the other people that are on a higher tier than you think that you are right now, or that are, monopolizing the market as far as that goes.
I think that's the thing. I mean, I still look through magazines and things like 500px and see images going up there and feel like giving up. This is just amazing. I guess it's all, a level type thing. We're at different levels, but yeah, sometimes I look at other people's work and just think there's just no way I'm going to get to that level.
Oh my God, please share some of the photos that you're thinking makes your work insignificant. And also, please keep in mind that there are so many people looking at your work and thinking the same. Like, I came in and they were like, hey, do you want to take over this other cohort? Can you take over too? And I was like, yes, let's do it. That sounds awesome. I would love to work with the people in there. And then I went and I looked at the quality of the work and I was like, I don't know that I can do that because some of their work is better than mine. So it's all comparative. Like I cannot shoot that high fashion model look that you do. Like and it's not my style either, but like I don't know how to do that as flawless as you. Like you would win 10 times out of 10 if we went in competition against that. So what you're doing exceptionally well. So don't compare yourself to other people that are maybe doing something differently. And also don't forget that, if you're really delving into this now hardcore and trying to take it to the next level, that these guys might have 15, 20 years experience, and they might be doing it with 40 hours of their week instead of 10 hours of their week. So it's all comparative, and it's good that you feel that way, because when you stop feeling that way, that's when you stop growing. So I love that you have people that you're chasing.
Yeah, it's a constant learning thing. I don't think you'll ever stop learning photography, without doubt.
Yeah. So, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go in the group and post the links for these other photographers that you think are your competition as far as the hair and makeup stuff. And
Okay.
then I want you to kind of take a day or two and just marinate in the idea of if you were shooting more with the idea of like a portrait-based business, would you be happy doing that? And what would that look like? And would you be happy giving up your IT job if that was affording you the same quality of life financially?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I would.
Okay, good. Okay, how are you feeling?
Yeah, good. It's been. I was a bit nervous to start with, but I'm fine.
Well, you didn't have anything to be nervous about. I was nervous too. But I think we had a really beautiful first time together and I'm really excited about
I
it.
really appreciate it. On behalf of the cohort, I'd just like to thank you for taking us on because having 40 students and doing this kind of level of interaction is a big deal, and we all know it.
It is, but look at the talent that I'm surrounded with. Like, how awesome is it that I get to sit and one on one with artists that have your caliber of ability and talent from halfway across the world? Like, I think that's really epic, and I think that's really what the goal of the Arcanum is. Plus, I really wanted to hop in because I think that there's people like you in that cohort that I would really love to elevate to level 20 and then elbow you until you guys agree to become masters as well because I would absolutely elevate you under the condition that I got to be one of the apprentices and study under you, which I think is part of the, that's part of the blend is that all the masters, like, which is why I was in Miss Aniela's cohort to begin with, like, if you want to be a good teacher, then you have to be a good student.
I'd really
And
enjoy it. I've done some tuition already, and I really love showing people what to do. And when they start to get the idea of what it's all about, it's really satisfying.
yeah, and that's another thing that I think that you would kill at. Like if we're talking purely finances and ability to make money at what you do, oh my God, you would just overflow your bank account doing workshops and teaching people how to shoot like that because it's a really fine art. And you have a really good team with you too. So talking a little bit about how you build that, I would be very interested when we cross Sphere 1 to sit down and maybe do a 1 hour intensive that we could introduce you and have you talk a little bit about how you built yourself to where you are now.
Okay, yeah, great.
Awesome. Okay, well, you survived your first critique with flying colors.
Thank you.
So you're going to go in and you're going to post your 5 images in level 4. And you're going to take a deep breath and you're going to read the things for that. And then you're going to let me know when you're ready to elevate. And you are through your first half sphere of training.
Thank you very much.
All right, I'll see you at level 9.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jess. Bye.